What's good, guys? Back in another video today, and there's some good and some bad news today. Um, as you can see, I'm not on my same account as yesterday because that account is gone. Like I said, guys, I've liked the way I've been trading on it, and it just didn't work out. Thought I took a good trade again today. In hindsight, it was maybe like a B setup, not an A plus. In the moment, it felt a lot better than it was. But looking back at it, shorts definitely were the play today. I ended up taking a long. But I do think it was still a pretty good trade. The reasons for me taking it were definitely there. But I don't know. A lot of people cooked on shorts. So yeah. I'm not going to say it was a huge mistake. I stayed within my risk limit, didn't overtrade again, and I just took the $400 loss. That was all I had left on my account, and that was that. So that's the bad news. The good news is I just have passed this account. I did also have two other combines, and this one I've been trading for a few days now, and I just took a loss on this. And as you can see, I have passed this one this morning, and then I took a loss on it just about now because that is the problem with these daily loss limit accounts, guys. I knew I was right. I knew the trade I was taking was right, as you can see on this account, but you get one good size retracement, you end up with your $3,000 loss, then you're screwed. If I was able to risk the whole account like I usually used to do, I never would have got stopped out. I know it says 17 trades. Yeah, I was kind of scalping in and out. Like you can see, it was really messy. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, the last trade I took stopped me out by like an absolute ball hair. And then I'm like, fuck, like I know this is going to hit. Like we've had a super strong bullish push. And as you can see, this has been a super clean Asia session. We've just kind of ripped up 300 points. But like what happened was I got this retracement right here, which ended up taking me out. Just because like I'm adding on the way up, because I can't size super heavy because the volume is just mental right now, even in Asia. And yeah, like this little retracement is enough to just take me out for $3,000. Like it's only like 80 points, but like when you're trading heavy size and you're adding into a trade, I mean it's partially my own fault, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't help because I barely got stopped out here. My stops, I made sure I only sized in so I was below this gap. We break this gap and I'm out. And then we get another inversion there, and that's where I enter it on the new account, and we rip right to TP. So it is what it is. Like I said, we still got this account half pass, so hopefully Asia tomorrow we can get this one going and get a win back on the other two. And the tentative plan is to pass all three, obviously, and then just continue trading 2-3 micros like I've been doing on the 50K accounts. And it just gives me more room to breathe, and I can still make a good amount of money with 2 to 3 micros because, as you guys have been seeing, we've been moving absolutely insane lately. So I can still stack some good money with that, and I'll have a good amount of drawdown to kind of stomach a few losing days at $500, like, because that's what I want my daily loss limit to be at. And I think that's going to be the best way to go about it going forward because the 50K accounts, it's just rinsing me right now. And I think it's better just to spend a little bit of extra money and get that extra bit of drawdown. But we'll see. Everything's just tough in general right now. But getting into today's session, we had this unmitigated 4-hour gap, which really caught my eye. There was no news on Forex Factory, but we did have some news at 5:30. It really didn't do anything. But this kind of was my target for today, and unfortunately I was completely wrong. I guess this was a way stronger draw, this kind of big pool of liquidity here. Like looking back in hindsight now, it does make sense, but we kind of disrespected this 4-hour the other day. We were respecting this one, and we disrespected this one here. So like the higher time frame in my eyes, just from yesterday, was super bullish, but then we did kind of disrespect a bunch of bullish PDA arrays on the higher time frame overnight. So to me, this all kind of came down to this gap, and obviously we did not close below this gap till 7 o'clock. So what I kind of thought was going to happen today was we were going to come grab this Asia low, and then we were going to get a long setup off of it, right? Because we would have still stayed within this 4-hour gap, and everything would have looked good to either push to London or this unmitigated 4-hour gap here, which is kind of my target for the day. And unfortunately, it just didn't really play out like that. I kind of waited for a bit after market open. The best trade of the day, looking back on it, would have most likely been, you had to have a bearish bias coming into the day. Don't get me wrong, I'm going to get rid of this 4-hour gap here, but we had this 5-minute gap here that we got an inversion down on, and we tapped into it right off open. We got a Judas swing down, and that probably was the best trade of the day, just targeting to Asia low for a 1-to-1. I mean, you could have caught a little bit more if you ran tight stops, but I would say a 1-to-1 would be pretty appropriate there. And that was a pretty good trade, but like I said, guys, you had to kind of have a bearish bias and just kind of be ready to take shorts going into market open. I wasn't, so I was looking for longs, and we did get a decent bounce off of this Asia low. So I didn't end up taking anything here because there was an inversion, but I kind of wanted to wait till, I'm talking on the 30-second, I believe there's an inversion here, but I wanted to wait till we kind of retested just in case I was wrong. And then we came up and we finally got the 1-minute inversion here, which I believe also turned out to be a very small 5-minute inversion, as you can see. So for my model, that fit perfectly. Was this a super strong pattern trade? Yes, it was. But I did end up entering on this 645 candle right here. And like I said, I was just targeting all the way up to this middle point of this gap. But looking back on it, I was longing in a premium, and there was no like real strong break-even point. I mean, other than here. But all this had already kind of been swept out. We'd already tapped into this gap. So this gap didn't need to be, like, if this 5-minute here stayed unmitigated, we could have had a good break-even point. But looking back at it, that was a little bit of a mistake on my part, because we had no reason to kind of retest this area. So me entering here, although we did get the inversion off the low, there was no reason to 100% come back up to here. And like looking back at it, I see that now, but in the moment I wasn't even thinking about that, to be honest. I just saw my draws that I wanted to take and the inversions, and I just called it a day. But that was where I got stopped out. It was a 1-to-3, so I was gonna make about $1,200. And another reason I liked this trade was because on ES, right off market open, I can find it here, we did leave equal highs at market open. So I kind of used that as a confluence as well. ES never actually did get the inversion on this move down. So that was another reason I believe we dropped. And ES also did not take this Asia low. So again, multiple mistakes for me. I did like this trade on ES, kind of like right as we retraced into this. You could have entered like anywhere around here. Again, a nice 1-to-1 down to Asia low. But on NQ, it wasn't correlating with that at all. And yeah, just lots of little mistakes, man. It just shows how tough and unforgiving these markets are right now. If you have the wrong bias, like, you're screwed. And it's just little stuff like that, man, because like if I would have paid more attention to ES, and it's just like it's hard because I'm not trying to make excuses, but I'm working as I'm trading, and it's kind of just hard to look at ES on my phone. Like when I trade at home, it's so much easier to just either flip between charts or use this thing here to pull up side by side charts, and I just miss things when I'm trading on my phone. But yeah, not gonna make excuses for it. That trade was a pattern trade, but I definitely have my reasons for it, so I'm not too upset about it. But yeah, it does kind of hurt, take another loss and blow the account, but is what it is, guys. And after that, I mean, there was no real entry here unless you kind of took a continuation on the 7 o'clock candle here, because at this point we had inversed that 4 hour down, and you could have taken a continuation trade down to these lows here. That would have been decent in my opinion, but I was already stopped out at this point. The win I did take on my combine ended up being right here. I took a long after we got all these inversions in here, and I don't know, it was like 1 to 1.5, so I caught it up to there. That was a trade I took. I thought that was a pretty good one in my opinion, but again, we had a clear break-even point at this 15-minute gap that we kind of needed to retrace after we swept these two lows. So that was a lot better of a trade than my first one I took. There was clear points the market needed to go grab before we continued lower, right? We needed to come up to this gap, and I mean, we didn't need to, but there was good reasoning to see price come back up to this gap. So I thought that was a lot better trade than the first one I took. So yeah, there was a good amount of opportunities to make money today. It was pretty clean day overall. I just got my bias completely wrong. We did dump about 400 points from open, or a little bit more than that actually if you count this wick. I'd say probably 450 if you don't count that wick. And yeah, Asia session super clean, as you can see. This little bit of price action was pretty clean in here as well. After we came back up into this hourly gap, you got a pretty nice move back down. So yeah, other than this little bit of chop, it was a very clean day. Just a few mistakes on my part, and it is what it is. You live and you learn. And I've kind of reached that point where I'm just fine with the losses right now. I feel like I've been learning a lot lately, and I've kind of really been analyzing and journaling why I've been losing. And like today, like I said, like there was no 100% guarantee we were going to come back up to here to give me a solid break even if my bias was wrong. And I find that's been very important for me lately, because if we had left this gap unmitigated, then we would have had a pretty strong reason to come up to this gap, and then that gives me, if I'm entering here, let's just pretend this wick didn't happen, and let's just even say I'm targeting here, we come up to this gap, that gives me a good amount of space. It gives me 70 points here to go break even within, and like I could have gone break even at this point, I could have gone breaking even at halfway point in this gap, like anywhere around there. If price had a reason to 100% move to that gap, then I could have secured a break even or secured some profit, either way. But price didn't have a reason to 100% go back to that gap because it was mitigated right on that Judas swing at market open. So yeah, little things like that I need to tighten up on. I have been trading for just under a year now. My first ever challenge I passed was on July 17th on a prop firm. So I'm still learning. I still got shit to do, and I get a little bit ahead of myself sometimes and think I should be a lot better than I am, but It does take time. I've had a very successful year so far. This has definitely been a little bit of a slump, but I've kind of got it out of my head that it's bugging me, and I'm just kind of enjoying the process right now and learning from every single loss, and gonna keep rolling forward. So hopefully we can get some accounts passed tomorrow, and we can be back at it for Thursday, I believe. Yeah, Thursday morning, and hopefully I will see you guys then. If you are trading tomorrow, there is an FOMC meeting minutes at 11 a.m. That usually doesn't do too much. The meeting minutes isn't that big of a deal, but just keep an eye on that. Any news is kind of crazy at this point because we're already moving with so much volume that anything on top of that just doesn't help. So yeah, and there's crude oil inventories at 7:30. Not sure how much of an impact that'll have, but also keep an eye on that. And yeah, stay safe if you're trading tomorrow. We are kind of destined to go down to these lows, in my opinion, at this point. We might retrace into this unmitigated 4-hour gap now during this Asia session. That's kind of where I was aiming when I was trading the combines. And then I do think we are going to continue back down out of here. Another 400 points. That's an easy day's move in today's market down to those lows, and then we will definitely see where we go from there. But yeah, we are still somewhat within this range, this daily range. So we'll see what happens over the next few weeks, but hopefully we break out of this soon. We can either get back to all-time highs or we can come down, grab some of this liquidity here. But hard to say with these market conditions, but we'll see. So I think that's going to wrap this one up here for me. I will see you guys Thursday, and if you enjoyed this video as usual, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. It means a lot, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.